Hello, this is Bruce Armstrong again. This is the fifth video in a series of recording and editing collaborative vocal music videos. And this is the one that I find the most difficult as the coordinator in something like this is when people have recorded their videos and they want to share them with the coordinator. So this is that process. First thing is show you where we are in the thing. We've done 4 other videos. We had an introduction and video and overview. And then we started in the MuseScore, and then we continued in MuseScore and creating the individual parts for the vocalists. And then the 4th video that we did last time was the actual recording mechanism for recording the things in your home studio. So now we're going to try to figure out how to upload the files to get them to the coordinator. Now, typically video files are too large to send in an email, and they can be any sizes. I've seen most of them are in the 400 to 600 megabytes, and I think email servers don't allow, some of them don't even allow more than 10 megabytes. So it's hard to get the files to the coordinator, but they can be created on a variety of devices and apps and can come in various formats. Most of the time you see them in the .mov or movie type, and some in the MP4 variety, but they could be almost anything. And most of them are directly compatible with the video editor apps that I'm using. Now, I found multiple ways to transmit video files, and this is something you have to deal with each person that's recorded it and just work with them as best you can. Some of them, it's to the point where I've had to actually remote into their machine and just do it for them because they don't have any idea how to upload a file to a cloud version. And there is an alternative. You can use like a zip drive or whatever you call those things, the portable USB drives that you can copy the file onto and then take it to someone or mail it to them. But the best thing is using one of the many free upload cloud services, and that's everything from Google Drive, Windows, OneDrive, Apple's iCloud, there's Dropbox and Box and various and sundry other things that I've run across in the time doing this sort of thing. But some are easier to explain than others. And if I'm dealing with someone who, for example, I have a Windows-based machine and they happen to have an Apple-based machine, it's difficult for me to explain to them what to click on or what to poke on their screen if they have a screen-sensitive thing. But I'm going to use the basis here as a demonstration with Google Drive, and it's one of the easier ones, and it's usually pretty universal in that for some reason or another, most of the people I've worked with have already established a Google sign-on because they've created a Gmail at some point in their computer lifetime. And so Google Drive allows people to have 15 gigabytes of free storage. And again, this is early 2021, and we've been informed that Google is going to start changing some of their billing categories starting on June of this year. And I'm not quite sure how they're going to charge for things. But you should be able to do most of this stuff for free, whether you're using Google Drive or iCloud or OneDrive or anything like that. But things are going to appear differently on different machines. So I'm going to get exactly into the details of how to do this in Google. And the easiest thing is to go to your browser, any browser, doesn't matter, and just type into the top google.com or www.google.com, and you'll usually appear a screen that's similar to this one. Not exactly. I've got certain things in the favorites down below the search bar that are different than most people's, but you want to make sure that you've been signed in. And so if you look over in the upper right corner, typically your first name, first letter of your first name is going to appear in the little circle, and that's going to be saying that you're already signed in. But if you're not signed in, the next step is that you're probably, if you do anything, you're going to have to sign in. Well, first thing we want to do is, I don't know, some people call this the waffle, but I call it a 3x3 or 9-dot square up in the corner. That's the Google drop-down for all the different services they offer. And so if you click on that, you'll get this drop-down sort of a thing. And in the drop-down, you can select the Google Drive. And that's going to take you to the drive. And again, this is a place where if you haven't signed in, it's going to ask you to sign in. When you open Google Drive, and this happens to be one that I don't have anything on it, so it says the getting started, and there's just a little PDF type file out there on how to use Google Drive, which is kind of nice, but I don't have any files up on here. So typically what I'm going to do is my next step is to click anywhere in the blank space of the screen. And I say, right click. That's something that is different on different machines, whether you're using a touch pad or if you're using trackpad, whatever they call them, or if you're using a mouse or something. I know that Apple machines, the right click is different on different devices. And so somehow it's holding down 2 fingers for a second, or, that sort of a thing. But on a Windows type based machine, you just right click anywhere in the blank space, and this little drop down comes up that says, what do you want to do? And it's got new folder, upload files, upload folder. We want the upload files piece. And so that's what you would select. Then once you select the upload files, it's going to, depending upon the device that you're using, it's going to you want to get to the place where your recorded video is. And in a prior video, I said, make sure you know where that is. This brings up the Explorer window in a Windows machine. It might bring up the Finder window in an Apple product. And you go to the particular folder. This happens to be in a particular folder, and I have some videos. And I said, okay, I want to click on one of these. So if I click on one, then it should highlight, and in this case in light blue. And then there's the open sign down below that says open, which I want to open that. And then what happens is you get the upload. And it'll tell you in the lower right-hand corner, it says this upload's processing, and depending upon what your internet speed is, it should be fairly quick. But then this little thing will come up, and it's like the little take 1, take 2 thing that shows on the screen for quite some time until the Google Drive processes the video somehow, and then they get the picture, and it'll show up the next time as a picture. But you want to click on that file once it's been uploaded, and you want to share it with your coordinator. So the person that's recording this has recorded this and now uploaded it to their Google Drive. They will click on it, and then there should appear up in the upper right-hand side this little person with a plus sign next to it. And it may look a little differently on your machine, but it should be something like this, or it should have the word share on it. And you click on the share button on the right, and then you come to a screen. It's a little pop-up window that's going to share that video with people and groups. And the first highlighted bar at the top says add people and groups. So that way you want to type in an email address. And sometimes it may think for you and go to your contacts in your emails and say, okay, you're typing in an email for someone I know. and you can just complete it by hitting enter. And as soon as you're done and hit the done key, then you can share it with the person, and they'll get an email saying that here's a link to look at this or download this video, so they can download it from your file. But there are some other things on here I just want to point out, is that you can also, down at the bottom of it, there's a place that says change to anyone with the link. You can click on that blue thing and you can say, I want this link to be available to anyone. And that's an option to you at that time. You can do that, or you can limit it to only the person you're just sending it to. Then the other places over on the right-hand side of that on the bottom is this copy link. And that's another way you can do it. You can just copy the link and then paste it into an email, for example, to share it with someone. So this share button at the end, you'll hit the share and say done, and we're done, and it'll do the email. So that's kind of the process. Now, I'll just some warnings is that, you may want to, if you're doing this sort of a aggressive or comprehensive collaboration with lots of videos, you're going to be dealing with a lot of people with different kinds of devices, and each one has its different anomalies. And unless you're familiar with all of them, you may have a little bit of problems with uploading and showing them how to upload those things. And you may want to get your ducks in a row before you attempt this. Okay, so that's the end of this one.